So Joe, I've been talking a lot about work-life harmony in like my LinkedIn post. We talked about, who was it? We were talking to somebody the other day and I was just like, gosh, that's such a
And
good
work-life
idea. And
harmony,
his
it's a
name,
balance,
yes.
yeah.
And it stuck with me. And I feel like I'm talking about it so much. And I've been putting it in my LinkedIn post and I've been talking about it with friends. Like it just, work-life harmony versus work-life balance really struck a chord. However, even when you integrate the two, and even when you make it a life, I would say a lifestyle as opposed to separating the two out, you still need boundaries. And for me, it's never been more real than this summer. As you know, kids are home from school. I have my laptop up, and sometimes they'll come up to me and ask me a question, and then they'll go away. And sometimes they'll come up, and I'm like, you guys can't talk right now. And my husband's like, they don't know the difference. Like, they don't know when you're in, I need a focus mode, go play in your room versus mommy's just casually checking emails. Um, and it's been such a weird mindset shift because I was explaining to them, I was like, when mommy was a kid, Papa, my dad, would go into the office and you wouldn't, I never saw him work I never saw my dad work once in my childhood um, because he was always gone. And now we're living in an age where kids see you work and they see you on your phones. And I try to limit that as much as possible. But it's just kind of the reality of working in the modern world. You have your laptop in places you didn't used to. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, except for me.
Yeah.
I've got my screens.
But we talk about your daughter
But
all the
yes.
time. We talk about her traveling to other countries.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's absolutely true, and it's great, and it's also, as you're pointing out, an issue. It can become an issue.
A big issue. And for people wanting to create life first businesses, it can really be a problem unless you set boundaries. And I think, like I was saying, I've had to come to the realization like, if mommy has her laptop up and I'm sitting in a certain area of the house, like I am right now, that's when you don't
Right.
come ask questions. Obviously, unless there's a more. Go ahead.
And that's what I did too. My first Life-First business literally was 1990. I started it in a spare bedroom, but I had a spare bedroom and I had it set up, and I went in there and the door was shut. Supposedly the kids weren't going to come in unless the house was on fire. Of course, that one time after literally 60 phone calls to this guy, and he finally called me back. I'm on the phone with him, and my daughter, was 3 at the time, comes and bangs on the door and says, "Daddy, let me in."
Yeah.
So,
Was the
so it
house on
doesn't always
fire?
work. It was not. It was not. I don't know
Good.
what happened. But anyway, it's just it's one of those things where having that space, that special space, can be a real good way to kind of set some boundaries. But then there's a flip side to it that I don't want to miss. So
Okay. No, I was just going to say, I think it's more, I mean, I've kind of alluded to this, but I think we've lost the ritual of signing on and signing off like for the day, unless your job allows that. And then there's the guilt of like, I don't know, for me, there's like some guilt and anxiety around like, when should I have my laptop up? When should I not? How much should they see? How much should they not? Um, and then like I'm sitting in my kitchen right now recording this, and this is a very common place in my house. It's the common space. And so we're just lacking those boundaries unless you set them intentionally. So Joe, you were just talking about spatial boundaries, like a dedicated zone, but you also had a flip side. What was that?
well, the flip side is that it's in your house, and it can be very easy to just pop in whenever something pops in your head, something there's a little bit of a quiet spell with whatever the kids or whatever, and you go in there, and at some level, I had to, in order to have a Life-First business, say there are only certain times I'm going to be in there working, and it's usually starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Not today, it was earlier, but usually 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it ends by 6. That's how I work, and I don't come in here in the evenings. I don't come in here on the weekends unless I'm doing house stuff, because I do pay some financial stuff from the same workspace. But I don't come in here and work on the weekends. It's just a rule. But if you don't do that, since this thing is calling to you, especially when you're getting started, it can just be too easy to just be in there all the time and missing out on the other parts of life.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is, like, it's great to have a dedicated space, because then it's like, it's here, it's not there, but it also can be a place to end up, hiding from the other parts of your life and, overdoing it
Yeah.
on the business.
But I also think in terms of boundary setting, communication is key. So aside from spatial, letting people know, like right before we hopped on, I was like, hey, you guys, this is one of those meetings that cannot be interrupted. I'm going to be recording. My husband is in our back office right now. He's in the real office, which is why I'm in the common space. And I just, it was just obviously come over to me if there's an emergency. But this is the boundary for right now. I texted my husband again. He was outside and in a separate space, and I was like, FYI, record, like making it known when you need to have focus time, downtime. And for me, aside from recordings right now, I try to get my heads downtime, uninterrupted time down when my kids are asleep or at my parents or also eat or with my husband. I never try to get that stuff done when they
Right.
are around. But I mean, I think it's easy for people to open their laptop and casually check emails. And you just have to remember the people around you don't know that you're just casually checking emails, and they don't know if it's important or if it's not. So just be really mindful of the work you're doing and the boundaries you're setting verbally with people, not just in terms of space. But I liked what you also said, Joe, about having the hard start and stop times. You said 8 to 6. That's when you work. I've actually heard people saying they're doing fake commutes now after working from home, where they're like, get dressed, take their dog for a walk, and then come back and do a fake commute so that you come back and you're in the zone and people know that when you get back from your commute, that's go time. And I thought that was a really fun idea.
Yeah, that I didn't think of that. That's very clever. Yeah, I mean, it's just good to have that kind of separation
Yeah.
for sure.
And I think also in the modern era, having that separation from your phone. Did I tell you about that? I got this thing called the brick. Have I told you about this?
I think so, but remind me.
So in order to access certain apps that I set, I do it from 3 to 9, except for when my kids are home from school. I was saying I'm trying to be so mindful about not having my phone up around them. And so from 3 to 9 p.m., when I know it's my time with them, everything on my phone is blocked except for text messages and phone calls, obviously. And the only way I can unblock it is if I go physically tap my phone on a device in my nightstand. So
There's a device
a
that
device,
comes with it.
so it's because you know how you can just override, if you're on
Oh yeah,
social
yeah,
media
yeah.
or
Just
something,
go and put your.
so easy to override. But this, it's if we're out and about, I can't override it because it's in my nightstand. And if I'm at home, I have to consciously be is going to check my emails while I'm making dinner really necessary right now? Enough to a point I have to get up, walk into my room, and actually override this. And so it makes you think about it.
See, if I had made the app, I would have done it. It would cost you $10 to unlock it.
Oh, see, that's smart. See, that's their next iteration. But really setting those boundaries also, because I think you have the work-life boundaries, but you also need to protect your mental space, since we are always around technology right now, whether it's work or personal. Setting those boundaries to help you be more productive during the day and find more work-life harmony, like we talked about, is huge from a get off your phone standpoint. But Joe, I mean, I guess the point of today is to separate your work and your home boundaries when you work from home. I don't know if we actually kicked off the episode by saying that, but that was the point of today, because I think we all run into these issues, especially in the summer months.
Yeah, it's really important, and like I said, and I unfortunately found out the hard way, early on that it's just too easy to pop in and start working again, especially like I say in the early days, because you're always stressed, trying to get things up and running. And it's just and it's fine to work more when you're getting started, but you don't want to lose your whole life.
So I guess the moral of the story today is you have to have a mindset shift. You need to look at boundaries as, I would say, a performance tool, not just a luxury, but something to get your work done and really separate that time. And then also protecting rest as part of your job, turning off those phones. Rest is not a betrayal of your productivity. It is also necessary. And I think setting those boundaries is key to finding that as well. But I think that's all I got for today. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered it.
Awesome. Well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please leave that 5-star review. It helps us reach other Life-First Solopreneurs who are trying to find those boundaries in their life. Subscribe to our show on your favorite platform, including YouTube. And we'll see you next week on the Life-First Solopreneur.